everyone. How are we doing? Jack Bluhm here. And need just a second to get the computer up and running. How's your day today? Oh my goodness. Mine has been rainy. And why can't I find my group? Alright, hold on. Seem to be having a little technical difficulty. As always, thank you for shopping with me. And while you're waiting, there's a peek at one of today's cards. And what is the matter with Facebook? There we go. Okay. Almost there. Sorry for the delay. Also, you can see the Night of Navy that I used to put in the hello. The different markers that I use, which I'm going to show you how I did this pot. And where did my Facebook go? Oh my goodness. Come on. It's doing nothing. Why won't it go there? All right, somebody say hi if you're out there. Oh, maybe I'm not live. It's not counting down. Somebody tell me if you're out there. Let's see. I'm going to close this down, open it one more time, and if not, maybe I'll come back on. All right. See if that helps. Just refresh it a little bit, right? You know, technical difficulties, they are not my strong suit. All right, here we go. There we go. There we are. Perfect. Mute the volume. Okay. Looks like we're pretty good now. All right. As always, like I say, thank you for shopping with me. And I'm going to hold this up a little bit so you can get a little closer look. I've done some markering on there, and here, and even on here. And I wanted to show you a couple things about this little trio. So this is actually 3 layers. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. Don't know if you can see that. Maybe you can see it right here. Okay? So in order to get that, it was a 1 by 4 inch piece of paper. Okay? And, oh, I guess I should show you the dies, which I think you saw from last time. It's this wonderful Help Me Grow die set, and it's actually this little border trim piece, which is this little piece right here. And I think I told you last time that I cut this one out. I had to cut the tip off on each end, the little short part, and then I had to cut along the edge of here. So it just gives you, if you think of it as this top and all of this fill in here, that's what it cuts out, okay? I hope that makes sense. Hopefully it will in a minute. Okay, let me figure out how I did these. Okay, so this is my 1 by 4. Here's a little demonstration. I don't think I need those anymore. So I'll show you with that. So here's my 1 by 4. So first I did this cut, and I just did it like that. No. Like, so here's the kicker, guys. You can see that this matches up. So yes, I did that first, and I got this piece. And then I took this piece and I went down to the bottom to get this piece, which the first cut gave me, make sure I'm on camera. The first cut here gave me this piece. The second cut gave me the straight edge and this little piece, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So what I did is I turned this piece around. I also put a little bit of ink, a little bit of blending marker on the top of there so you could see it a little more. And I'll have pictures when I'm done. So I turned that one over. Then I did the same thing. I inked along the edge of here, and I placed that one to get rid of that straight line, correct? Like so. And then this piece, again, I edged it, and then I set it down over that crinkly bit. And that's how I got those layers, okay? I hope that makes sense. Now on this pot, This is a little bit bigger pot. So there's the two different sizes. There's this one here, which is this one, and then this one with the saucer, which is that one, okay? It's just a little bit smaller. I thought this would be easier to see. So I always start with my lightest marker, which this is the matching Timid Tiger to the Timid Tiger. And okay, this one doesn't exactly have this one has a little cutout right here. And there's a cutout in the saucer. This one does not. So just pretend that that one has a little cutout. So where that cutout was, I'm gonna get all inky today. I just know it. Okay. So where that saucer cut was, let's see. We'll put in an imaginary line. There. There's where the cut line is. I just went up here and I just colored in that little edge, okay? And then there's a line under here that I just went in and made that a little darker, okay? Then I took, and now same thing on the little saucer. You can see it's colored in back there, but not there. Hopefully you can see that. And you can see that this part is darker than this part, okay? Then I took my brush end and I just kind of went down like something like that. Okay? So that's all colored in the back. You could color the whole thing. Let's just color the whole thing there. That makes a little more sense to you. And then I took the dark marker with the flared end and I just gave it a little bit darker edge. Okay, now at this point, because that looks really man-made, if you will, I just went back and kind of added some light. I know that looks dark, but it will lighten up when it dries, and it will take that out. And if you need to, you can go back and add it again. You can kind of smudge it a little bit so it looks a little bit more. We'll give that a second to dry. And that's kind of how I did all of that. Same thing on the flowers. I used the light and the dark of the, what marker is it? It is Balmy Blue. And I just went in, there's a little dark here and a little light there. And I just went around those and did that. Okay. This is the DSP from the product of the month for December. I just found out that that is gone. You can no longer get that one. But there is January, February, and March's new one that you can get. Okay. So just a little 3 by 3, a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. This was that 1 by 4 that we did all that to. And the fork. So this is the smaller fork. This is the bigger fork. It just looked really funny to have that great big one, okay? Watch how you do your paper because you can get some really cool patterning depending on where you cut, okay? Here's another one that I did that I just went across some of that. Like I said, the paper's gone, so forget about that one. But also on here, I wanted to show you that there is a little slit there. So that way you can slide your fork up through there and just put a little glue there. There's also a couple right there. But that made it easy just to slide that fork up through there. On this one you can see it's a, you know, goes up quite a ways, a little bit. All right. Now, I wanted to show you this. So, when you stamp your flowers for your handle, there's this flower piece, and then there's this greenery piece. So you stamp your flowers first, or whichever one's darker, or however you can do it. And then you stamp the leaves over the top. And that's how I got this. But a little trick I learned to cutting it out, because sometimes it's like this one. It's a little thinner here and a little thicker there. But if you make yourself a template and you place that over the item that you want to cut out, then you can evenly space it. Then you just put your thing right there, and just put a piece of tape. Now what I would do is I would have it a little further down, so pretend that this is down here, so that way I could line it up, put this on, right, because it just fits in that groove that it made from cutting out my template. And then this way, because you have these 3 pieces, you can easily add your piece of tape right across here, here, and here. And then it'll hold it while you cut. And then you'll get a little bit better than what I did on here. Okay? All right, so that's all of that. And I've also started, you might have seen, I showed you this. Here's my 3x3 and my 3x3, 3¼ by 3¼ That makes that square. This is, like I said, what I did for that. I've started making these up just in printer paper. And I think I'll just keep going because when I have a blank card base, such as this, then I can figure out before I cut the paper what it's going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to start making these up and just keep them in a baggie, and there we go. All right, that's for the next one. So there's card number 1, and I'm also going to show you how you can do this even a little bit better on the next card. Oh, also the bling that I used for this one was the Online November Pearls of Beauty, which those colors just went in perfectly. Okay? All right. So there's card number 1. Another good look if you want to do a screenshot. And we will move on to card 2. You can also tell that when I glued this down, I just glued it here, you know, like that much. So that way I could stick my fork in there, behind there. Okay? And let's see. I did layer the pot. I did layer the pot like here and here. And then I just go back and I layer some of the leaves and not all of the leaves. Okay? I did layer that one up. And I did layer this one up. I just cut one of the itty bitty dimensionals in half so that way it would fit on there. But this is just flat. I like to do that up and down a little bit, and you'll see that a little bit more on the next card. It just gives you a little more depth to do it that way. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Get rid of that. And some of the things I used on the next card are Wink of Stella and some markers, the Old Olive Light and Dark, the Pumpkin Pie Light and Dark, and then the Dark Crumb Cake. My colors are switched a little bit. That's why I switched up the oranges and dropped the blues. And this is one way to test when you've got a little scrap, to test what color you might like better. And that's how I decided, here's the card, which color I wanted. That just made it too much green. So I liked that better, which was Pecan Pie. And I'll hold this card up because it's got a lot going on. This is one of those labors of love that really it wasn't hard, okay? But you can see, hopefully, let me see. If I tilt it, you can see that those pots have raised up in the middle. But then I took the pot and I just kind of curved it a little bit, just ever so slightly. I didn't want to add any crease. And then I put a little bit of foam tape here, but then on this edge and this edge and this side, I just used adhesive so it would bump up and glue down. Okay, so that makes my pot look a little less flat and more rounded like a pot would be. Okay, same thing with this. I put a couple of the dimensionals here, but this part I just glued down flat. Okay, this paper is from that bulk of wood grain, which I love. Wood Grain Wonders. Gotta have that one. Got to. And the other piece is from this, which is actually Cute as a Bug paper. That's in the Sweet Cute as a Bug, January through April's mini catalog, which is current right now. Okay, now you'll see, hopefully, maybe on the photo, but right here around this edge, around this card base, and around this brown here, I took my Wink of Stella and just ran it along the edges to give it a little sparkle. Then I did splatter this piece a little bit with, which you can't really see because I covered it all up, but that's okay. All right, so on here, I just added the light, what is it? Old Olive on the pot as well. I did the same with the terracotta, but then I put a little bit of green and that darker green of the Old Olive along the edge and just kind of blended it together. I wanted the pots to be kind of like in progression of the flowers. This has a little bit, this has a little bit more, and this has the most down and around. For these, remember I told you that trick that if you put a dot or hold a dot, you'll get a bigger dot. See how it progresses bigger from just a little bit. So the more you hold that marker down, the more that you're coloring with it, the more it's going to spread out. So that's why I say sometimes when I'm coloring, start in the middle and just let it fade out to the edges, because a lot of times it'll grow quite significantly depending on how long you leave that marker. Okay, so I just dotted these little dots with some of the light and the dark. This is also that lunar luster paper, which really looks like shovel handles, or shovel, you know, the metal part. My words. Okay, so on these leaves, this is a whole sprig and that's a whole sprig. Cut it off. The two pieces that I cut off, which were here and here, I just stuck there and there, and just kind of stuck the flowers around where I liked them. And the little bling that I used, the punch, first the punch, is the Heartfelt Hexagon punch. It's in the yearly catalog, so I may be coming back around in the May catalog, May through August, or it may not. So if you like that one, get that one. And then the bling is from the online from November, Earthly Matte Dots. And I love it because they're flat. They're pretty flat, right? Not got that bumped up dome. And they're matte colored. So that worked out perfectly for here because I already put a lot of shimmer. I also put a little bit of shimmer, which hopefully you'll be able to see in the still shot on the flowers. And then inside, love you bunches. Just thought that kind of went. Oh, and remember I told you I used this dark crumb cake marker. Because I used the same piece here and here, I just went around the edge again, just holding the end of it around and gave that a little definition from that. Plus bumping it up helped too. This is actually the back side, so that's that little bit lighter one. Now, if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to let me know and I will get back to you. There are your two cards for today. Do you like card number 1 or card number 2 better? Which one would you like to make? And I guess that's about it. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Hi, Judy. Good morning. Thank you for watching. And have a great weekend. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.